What's up, Titan fans? How we doing? Welcome to the Week 7 ESPN Power Rankings, where we're going to go through all 32 teams and where they're ranked, go over what they're doing, how we feel about them, but you also got to let me know how you feel about it in the chat. But look, before we get started, let me go ahead and insert a quick plug. If you're not following me on YouTube, TikTok, and X, make sure you follow me on all three platforms. The handle's the same no matter where you go, and I post videos all throughout the week, Monday through Fridays, either shorts or longer videos. And on Mondays I always do a post-game video, on Fridays I do a pre-game video, and on Sundays, on game day, I do a watch party where you can come in here live and watch the game with me, talk about it, see any type of reactions or anything like that. I am here and I am ready to answer whatever you need. So let's go ahead and get started and get into things. Right here at the bottom at number 32, we're looking at the New England Patriots. They are 1-5. They haven't moved since last week. I know they started Drake May this week, and he, didn't play spectacular. I think he had one touchdown, one interception, but hey, at least they're playing their younger guy. They moved on from Brissett. So they are now looking toward their future, and that's how teams should be doing, especially if you're these bottom-tier teams like the Tennessee Titans. You definitely just want to play your young guys, let them improve, see what they have, and if we suck, hey, you can always draft a replacement or draft better pieces around them. But that's where the New England Patriots are right now. They're sitting at 1-5. Above them, we have a division rival, the Jacksonville Jaguars, at 1-5. And look, they did drop. They were at 29 last week, but it's just crazy how much they've paid Trevor Lawrence, and he's not contributing. This man, what he got, over 100 mil, and he's playing just as bad as Levis. So I mean, it is what it is. They're 1-5. Us and the Jags, we're gonna be battling for last place in the division. After them, we got the Carolina Panthers sitting at rank 30. Last week, they were 31, so they did move up in the rankings only because the Jags moved down. But they are a disaster as well. They've lost every game minus the one where Andy Dalton came in and everyone thought he would be him. But no, they're still the same old team. They should have just kept Bryce Young in. I know they didn't want to lose the locker room, so they tried making a change at quarterback. Maybe get a couple of dubs, But hey, it is what it is. It's not much of a difference between Andy Dalton and Bryce Young. Next, the Cleveland Browns. They are at rank 29, sitting at 1-5. They did move up one rank last week, right? They were at 30 last week. Now they're at 29. But they're another team that's a disaster. These bottom-ranked teams. I mean, they overpaid Deshaun Watson. They're stuck with him. It ain't like he's one of these rookie quarterbacks like the Carolina Panthers, where, if he's on a rookie deal, it's not going to hurt him big. They can always move on. Or the Patriots, how they're doing, they finally started playing their younger guy, going to try to develop in. But it ain't like they had a whole bunch invested in the Brissett. But no, the Browns, a disaster. They're stuck with Watson. I don't know what they're going to do to be able to move on, but they are just stuck with him, and they're 1-5. And he doesn't even look like he wants to play football. I mean, they're talking about trying to go for it on fourth down. This man's walking off the field. You do not want that man on your team. Next. Oh, we got a couple things in the chat. He said, bruh, hi, bruh, what up, Giaco Franco? And then Kryptonite. What do you think about the Cowboys? Oh, we're going to get to them. I'm pretty sure they're not too much further ahead, But right now, that we got the Tennessee Titans. They are 1-4. Hey, I'm Titans through and through, but we are horrible this year. It even says lessons learned. It takes time to find a franchise quarterback, and it does. We're trying it with Levis. But right now, I don't know if Levis has lost faith in his abilities or he's just second-guessing himself. All because, he throws so many interceptions. But last game was very conservative. Callahan did make plays where players were open down the field, but he kept trying to check it down. And Callahan was a little afraid. I think he's losing trust in Will Levis as well, because he wasn't really throwing the ball until the very end of the game when we had to throw the ball. But they just kept trying to feed Calvin Ridley. Wasn't working at all. And obviously Calvin Ridley was he caught 0 of his 8 targets, which is wild for Calvin Ridley. He's a mayonnaise man. Yeah, the mayo man himself. He is struggling. He is struggling. So we'll see. You might as well keep Levis, let Levis play, let him get you a bad draft pick and draft his replacement. There's no point in bringing in Mason Rudolph or bringing in, what's the other guy we got? We just picked a Trevor Siemian. Yeah, don't play them. Well, you're going to get a couple more wins, and you're just going to maybe be like a 6th, 7th pick of the draft. You might as well just let Levis play. If he ends up turning it around and he ends up balling out and being a franchise quarterback, good. But if not, hey, we got a top draft pick to draft his replacement. But let's go ahead and move on from the Tennessee Titans. Next, we got the Raiders. The Raiders, they were at 26 last week. This time, they're at 27. So they did move up. Look, lessons learned. They're talking about tight end Brock Bowers. Everybody knew he was going to be legit. And, he was legit in college. He's one of the best tight ends in college, and he's making his way. But I don't know if you've seen, but in big news today, they did lose Davante Adams. He was traded to the New York Jets earlier today. He wanted out of there. He didn't want any part of it. So their production may go down even further. I mean, they're 2-4. They're only one game above the Titans, but they just lost their best receiver and one of the best receivers in the National Football League. Oh, yeah, really? Yep, they sure did. They traded him away. So he is a New York Jet, and he's been reunited with Aaron Rodgers. So, the Jets will definitely turn things around because that's one of his top targets when he was in Green Bay. Next, we're talking about the Los Angeles Rams. They are sitting at 1-4 at rank 26. They were 27, so they did move up. Their main thing about them is that they're missing a playmaker in the secondary. I mean, I haven't watched too many Rams games besides the one that was on one of the primetime games. But, they do have an outstanding roster. I don't know why it's not meshing together too well. I mean, Stafford, he was a Super Bowl champion a few years ago. But they're sitting at 1-4. The New York Giants, yes, they are 2-4. They've stayed the same since last week. And they're like us. They struggle to score points. It says it there. The Titans, we only get 17 points a game. We don't get too many. But the New York Giants, 2-4. They have Malik Neighbors out there. He's going to be an all-star receiver eventually. Just have to figure it out at quarterback. I'm talking Jones is not him. They paid that man a lot of money, and he's not it. They need to find a way to move on, get another quarterback. I don't know how much they owe this man in cap, but they got to figure out a way to get rid of him and get a new quarterback. Next, the Miami Dolphins. What a surprise team to be 2-3. They were sitting at 23. Now they're at 24. They went down in the rankings. Everyone thought this team was going to be basically a playoff contender, possible Super Bowl team. But when Tua went down, everything went downhill from there. Yes, that was our only win of the season was against the Miami Dolphins, right? But obviously they didn't have Tua. We ended up playing Huntley, who was on the team for like a week or two. And that's why we were able to get the dub. But the Miami Dolphins are struggling at 2-3. I know Tyreek Hill looked frustrated at times. Hopefully they can turn things around. We'll see how long it is till Tua gets back. I'm not sure of his timeline yet, but he needs to come back to revive that team. But when he comes back, he definitely needs to wear that Guardian cap. He needs it because this man is so fragile. He needs the Guardian cap. It needs to be mandated for him to wear it. It should not be an optional thing. Next, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Another big surprise that they're only 2-4. I mean, they were in a tough division, but they did go up. They were 24 last week. Now they're 23. But it's just odd because I think Joe Burrow's playing pretty good. They're just losing. They don't have much of a defense, and they're 2-4. But they are in one of the toughest divisions in the NFL. And they should improve as their schedule moves on and they play some easier teams. The New York Jets, 2-4. They beat the Tennessee Titans, which we probably should have won. But yes, they did drop in rankings. They were 21 with a 22. They're 2-4. But like I said earlier in the show, they ended up getting Davante Adams. So that is a big weapon for Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers, he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, multiple MVP quarterback. So he can turn things around, especially with a good weapon like Davante Adams. I don't think it's going to take long for Davante Adams to adapt because he already knows, every little thing that Rodgers does. It's Rodgers' offense, so he already knows. They'll be fine. They'll mesh quick with one another. the Denver Broncos. They are 3-3, sitting at rank 21, and they did drop from 19. And look, they're one of those teams where they're young. They got that young quarterback, Bo Nix. He's old. He's not young in years, but he's young in the NFL. And they are 3-3. They're trying to get it together. They're still trying to mesh between QB and coach. I mean, you saw the argument on the sideline the other day, and they were like, "Hey, what happened?" He's like, "Oh yeah, coach said he loved me, and I said I love you too." But that's not what they said. They were over there arguing, but hey, they're keeping it cordial with the media. But 3-3, they might be able to turn things around. All depends on Bo Nix. A lot of these teams with a young quarterback, it just depends on how their young quarterback does. Arizona Cardinals, 2-4, stayed the same, rank 20. And look, the Cardinals, they're only going to get worse as the season goes on. They're 2-4, but we know this every single year. When Call of Duty comes out, Kyler Murray gets worse. Just look at the stats. I'm not making it up. Just look at the stats. He gets worse every year when Call of Duty comes out because he's more worried about playing Call of Duty and doing his live streams than focusing on football. So they will only drop in the rankings. 2-4, that might be, as good as it gets on the season. Oh, let's see. He said, we got Kryptonite in the chat. You should have way more subs than you do. I hope you blow up, LO. Hey, I appreciate that, man. I really do. And look, if you ain't sub, go ahead and sub, But this channel's pretty new. I'm still getting started. I started right before this season started. I'm inspired by other channels. I'm not sure if you watch other channels on YouTube. Like they got the Titans Tube, Locked On Titans. I watch them. I get inspired by them. And I'm like, I could talk Titans all day. So I just talk. I was like, I could get a camera, talk about it. And I'm doing it now. So it's new. You just got to spread the word, brother. Next, we talking about the Indianapolis Colts. They beat us. Right, that's who we just lost to, and these guys moved up in the rankings from 22 to 16. And Joe Flacco's looking good. I'm telling you, he might be old, but he still has an arm. He can still make decisions. Like soon as our safety got injured, he targeted him immediately through a post corner for a touchdown. It was wild. And he was not afraid to stay in the pocket. You see all these young QBs now. As soon as there's pressure, they try to scramble to the outside. No, he steps up. He throws it. He's composed. Like the pressure was not, we were bringing heat. We got Denard Williams as our defensive coordinator. We bring heat. Doesn't affect him. We had 0 sacks. He was getting the ball out quick. If we would have played Richardson, we probably would have won. Richardson, he's right there with Will Levis. Their stats are almost similar across the board. They were both playing bad at QB. The only thing is Richardson has the athletic ability, Like that's what got him big in the first place. When you watch the Combine, that's what got him big. Before the Combine, no one was talking about Anthony Richardson. Then all of a sudden they found out he can run fast and jump high, and his draft stock blew through the roof. So that's Anthony Richardson for you. But he's out. No telling how much longer he's going to be out for. He might be coming back soon. But, yeah, we didn't get to verse Anthony Richardson or Jonathan Taylor. They were both out. So we'll see how they go later in the year. And if they start Richardson, their record might not get too much better. But if they play Flacco, they have a fighting chance to catch up to the Texans and pull away from the Tennessee Titans because we look horrible. Oh, this dude said, Kendrick Jones, bro, who cares? Talk about starting a business. That's what we want to hear about, how to make money. Hey, you tell me how to make money, I'll talk about it. But right now, hey, I'm just doing some YouTube videos, having fun, brother. This is what we do for fun, not a job. Then he said, Doug, who do you think you are? Kendrick? What do you mean by that? Are you talking about Kendrick? You're talking about Kendrick Jones. Okay, I see who you're talking about. I see it in the chat. Yeah, I don't know. He's talking about making money. Hey, you tell me, brother. You tell me. After that, we're talking about the New Orleans Saints. These boys started out undefeated, 2-0. They were beating teams by 40 points. Granted, they weren't the best of teams. It was the Cowboys who just got blown out by the Lions. They seem to get, this is a horrible year for the Cowboys. In certain games, they just get blown out. But anyway, we're on the Saints. The Saints are 2-4. They started 2-0. People were believing in Derek Carr down in NOLA, and it just didn't work out. You know what I'm saying? That now all of a sudden they got rid of, or didn't get rid of Carr, but they benched Carr for Rattler, and he came in, didn't look that impressive. They still lost I mean, they almost came back to. I think they were down 17-0 at one point to the Bucks, and ended up coming back, getting the lead, and then eventually the Bucks just broke away and ended up like stomping them really. But they, the Saints kept it close, halfway through the game or somewhat into the third quarter. He said, we got another message from Kryptonite. Jerry Jones is holding the Cowboys back. Worst GM. Oh yeah, it's when GMs get too involved in the organization, like don't let the coaches make calls and stuff, it does hurt the team. You can't let the GM dictate too much. Let the coach, you know what I'm saying? Next, we're talking about the Los Angeles Chargers. They're 3-2. They're 17 now. They were 18. They did move up. Justin Herbert, he's always doing well. He just has a horrible defense. And one thing that is upsetting, though, is that we traded Elijah Molden to the Chargers. You know how it is, the Titans. I just got to throw it in. They traded in Elijah Molden to the Chargers. He got an interception. We only got one interception on the year, but we trade players away, and they do great elsewhere. And that's just another example was Elijah Molden on the Los Angeles Chargers. But they're sitting at 3-2. They're pretty, set so far. As long as they don't mess things up, they can continue to do well. And this is a big surprise right here. The Chicago Bears 4-2. They were 17. They moved up to 16. But 4-2, I'm telling you, when we played them, they looked bad. Like, we didn't even really, they didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. But yet, here they are at 4-2. I know Caleb Williams, he looked really good. I think he threw like 4 touchdowns this week. But typically, he's looked not that good. As their defense that was winning games, but he finally had his coming to the NFL game where he looked good. And if he maintains that and he lives up to the hype, the Chicago Bears can be good. But I'm just surprised from how they started to where they are now at 4-2. He said, how Cowboys this high? Yeah, how are the Cowboys this high? I'm a huge Cowboys fan. And I know we suck this year. Yeah, hey, it happens to the best of us, Yeah, the Cowboys. They're here. We are. We finally made it to them. There's your team. There's them boys right there. Dallas Cowboys 3-3. They did drop. They were number 10 last week. Now they're 15. They dropped 5 ranks because of this loss. But this was a big loss. They got blown out by the Lions. The Lions clearly look like the superior team, and I like Prescott. I mean, he's always gets a lot of yards. I know a lot of it's late in the game when he's trying to catch up and everything. But the Cowboys have a good roster on paper. I mean, you're talking CeeDee Lamb. They got a good roster. I'm not sure why they're not winning more games. I don't know why the point difference was so huge with the Lions. And the Lions were just running up the score, doing all these trick plays of reverses and everything like that. But the Lions, they have a good roster. And they are ranked pretty high at 15 for 3-3, but hey, it is what it is. They're at 15, and hopefully they can turn things around because I know Stephen A. has a field day when they lose, especially when they get blown out. The Seattle Seahawks, 3-3. They were ranked 12 last week. Now they are ranked 14. They went down in the rankings, 3-3. Geno Smith's trying to do something with them. I mean, I haven't really watched too many of the Seahawks games because they are all the way on the West Coast. I'm on the East Coast, so sometimes, I don't know, it's a little difficult, and they're just so far away to catch, Most times I get things over in the Southeast, but they're sitting at 3-3. The Philadelphia Eagles, 3-2. And then most people considered them to be like the top team coming into the league, I mean, A.J. Brown's there. Obviously, they got Hurts. They got so many playmakers on this team. You think, like, when they play, you think they're going to win every week no matter who they play. They have that potential to win every game, but unfortunately, they're 3-2. I know A.J. Brown does get a little upset sometimes. He is kind of a diva when he doesn't get the ball, and he wears his emotions on his sleeve. But other than that, he's an outstanding player. I know Barkley's he kind of dropped off a little bit from his Giants play, but they do have Barkley in the backfield. Let's see. Kryptonite said, need new coaches and GM. Cowboys need a new coach. Oh, Dan Campbell, what a turnaround. That's why you can't give up on a coach year one. Because remember, year one, Dan Campbell only won, was it 1 or 2 games in year one? And then all of a sudden, now he's looking like one of the best coaches in the league. He turned this team completely around. That's why also with the Titans, we just hired Brian Callahan. He's supposed to be this this innovative, offensive-minded head coach. It's going to take a time for his culture to build, and it does. Because he's still playing with the Vrabel roster. Dan Campbell was playing with the previous coach's roster, but he definitely turned that team around. It is his team now. He built it, and they believe in Dan Campbell. It is his roster all the way. The Atlanta Falcons, I just got to say, I'm loving Kirk Cousins right now. Look, I live in Georgia, so I get to see a lot of the Falcons stuff. And this whole, swag thing he's got going on, he has reignited the city of Atlanta. They love Kirk Cousins. They're at 2-4. They went up from 14-12, but Kirk Cousins, he's definitely, growing into a fan favorite in Atlanta. And they have a good roster, too. So that runner back, Bijan Robinson's very good. He has Drake London as receivers. They're going to be good. And don't forget their tight end. What's his name? Kyle Pitts. They just got to get him the ball, but he's an outstanding tight end. They just need to make play designs to target Kyle Pitts. But, yeah, they might just win that division. We'll see, though. They're going to be up there. They're going to be a tough team to beat. After that, we got them Steel Boys. 4-2. You can never count them out. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, I believe. They were 15 last week. This time they're 11. You just can't count them out. Justin Fields, he's been looking good. He needs to remain their starter. They don't need to play Russell Wilson at all. I know he's healthy. Just let Fields play. Let him play. Russell Wilson, he had his chance a couple times. He didn't do nothing when he was in Denver. When he was in Seattle, he did look good, but was it the surrounding cast? I'm not sure what happened. Was it the system? Who knows? But I don't want to see Russell Wilson at all. Let Fields cook. You got to let that man play. He says, hi, I'm from India. That's Billy Game. Hey, what up, Billy? Welcome to the channel. Hey, who's your favorite team, Billy? Let me know. Are they in the top 10? Because we just got to the top 10. We are on the top 10 power rankings right now. And we're talking about the San Francisco 49ers. They were ranked 13 last week. Now they're up to 10. They're 3-3 as well. And Purdy, look, he went off. You know how I know he went off? I didn't get to see the game because, like I said, West Coast teams a little harder for me to see. But I do have Purdy in fantasy football, and he got me a ton of points. And they're just an outstanding team. Everyone, they're their playoff team. Obviously, they made it to the Super Bowl, and they're gonna do well. They got Harbaugh as a coach. You can't really say too many negative things about the San Francisco 49ers. The Commanders, big surprise right here coming into the season. The Commanders haven't been good in a very long time, but Jaden Daniels, he's good. That's just they got lucky and they hit jackpot with Jaden Daniels, and they are 4-2. He's coming out hot. He's looking like he's a franchise quarterback, and as long as he can keep developing and just not let teams hone in on it, what he does, he'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Because some teams, Levis, his first game, he threw 4 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. But teams figured him out, and now they just blitz Levis, and our line sucks, and they can take Levis out the game. Teams can typically scheme around your play style. Jaden Daniels, so far, they haven't been able to figure him out. He's looked good, and they'll probably continue to look good. After that, we're talking about the Green Bay Packers. Hey, 4-2. They beat us too, and that was obviously their coach. What's his name? I can't think of it right now. But their coach is obviously outstanding because they had Jordan Love. He got injured. Malik Willis came in, and Malik Willis looked like an all-star. They built offenses around Malik Willis' skill set. And then, obviously whenever Love comes in, they still look good. So that's good coaching. They have a good coach with the Green Bay Packers right now. Next, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 4-2. We talked about them earlier. They ended up stomping the Saints after looking like they might give it up. They were down. They were up 17-0. Let the Saints come back, take the lead, but the Bucs ended up, hey, Baker's him. He might have thrown, 3 interceptions that game, but he is him. He ended up adapting and overcoming. They were ranked 8 last week. Now they're ranked number 7, sitting at 4-2. You can never count Baker out. He got that dog in him. Now on to the Buffalo Bills. Hey, these Buffalo Bills, they're another team you can never count out because they have Josh Allen. If something happened to Josh Allen, I wouldn't be talking about the Buffalo Bills. But they are 4-2. They were ranked number 6 last week. They are still ranked number 6 this week. And they are a playoff caliber team sitting at 4-2. Next, we got the Baltimore Ravens. And let me tell you what. On this channel, every time I talk about the Ravens, I just got to let you know, we hate the Baltimore Ravens on this channel. But we love Derrick Henry, and he's having an outstanding season. He has 700-something yards already on the season. This man is looking like he's back at peak Derrick Henry. And then they got Lamar Jackson. You got up their running stats. They got to be number 1 in the league in rushing. But these guys, hey, they're 4-2. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to do well. They got Derrick Henry, and they got that running offense that people cannot stop. Next, we're talking about the Houston Texans and C.J. Stroud. What a steal. I know they drafted him, with the number 2 pick or something like that, but he has been outstanding. They are so lucky. The Panthers drafted Bryce Young, and they got C.J. Stroud, because he has been an outstanding quarterback. They are 5-1. They're going to win the division. It's quite unfortunate that we have to talk about a division rival in a positive light. But yes, they are 5-1, sitting at rank number 4. Whenever they were number 3 last week, they did go down in the rankings, but they're going to be good. After this, we're talking about Detroit Lions. What a game they had last week. Dan Campbell showed why he's an outstanding coach. They're so lucky they did not give up on Dan Campbell a couple years ago when he only had 1 or 2 wins. They're sitting at 4-1 now. They're blowing teams out. The Cowboys, they were just running up the score on the Cowboys. It was quite amazing, the trick plays they were doing. But yeah, they ran up the score. They're sitting at 4-1 at rank number 3 in the power rankings. Next, this is a surprise, right? They got a rookie quarterback. I know they're not putting it on the rookie quarterback's shoulders, but they are 5-0, sitting at rank number 2. That's quite amazing, and I hope they do well. You want to see the rookie do well. I like the Vikings. Hopefully they continue to, do well throughout the season. Then, of course, we got the Kansas City Chiefs at rank number 1. And look, even if they weren't undefeated, they'd probably still be ranked number 1 because the media loves the Kansas City Chiefs. They'd make up some type of excuse for why they lost. But that's only if they can even get a loss, because we all know how the refs are on the Chiefs' side. But they're sitting at 5-0, undefeated. But that sums it up for today's episode of the ESPN Power Rankings. But hey, you let me know how you feel about the Tennessee Titans and their ranking down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tighten up, baby.